Am I the asshole for not helping my dad's wife during my mom's parenting time? My dad and his wife are expecting a baby together. She has a 10-year-old daughter already. Dad has me, 16 male. They've been together for about 7 years and married for 4. It's been 5.5 of knowing them for me. I don't like my dad's wife. I find her really bad with respecting boundaries and overly pushy. When she was still only dating my dad, she showed up to be a parent chaperone for my class field trip even though she and dad knew mom was doing it and I had already said no to her. She kept trying to make me walk closer to her than my mom too. When I ignored her mostly, she got really pissy about it. Dad told me I could have appreciated that she wanted to be there for me. When they were engaged, she made me come dress shopping with her and kept pushing for me to give feedback on the dress. I said repeatedly I didn't care. She told me I should help my new, bonus mom, find the perfect dress. I pulled a disgusted face and she asked what that was for. I told her she wasn't my bonus mom and I hated that title. She told me she doesn't want to be my stepmom. She wants to be my bonus aka second mom, and I didn't have to like it but I had to lump it, and one day I'll love her back. When schools were virtual because of COVID and I had to go to my grandma's house while mom worked, she showed up at grandma's house and tried to take me to her and dad's house. My grandma threatened to call the police on her because she wasn't supposed to be there. A few times she brought her daughter to try and make us give in. Didn't work. So yeah, I don't like her. I just about tolerate her. But I don't care about her at all and I'm not super worried for her now. Her pregnancy is high risk and she was diagnosed with a pretty risky illness condition. It's her kidney and something else. But after she found out she was pregnant, she started getting really sick, and this diagnosis makes the pregnancy high risk too. She goes to the hospital 3 times a week for treatment and has to stay in bed when at home. When dad has parenting time, he makes me get lunch ready for me, his wife and her daughter, and I'm supposed to see if she needs anything. I do it as a chore, not because I care. But now they expect me to go to his house for a bit after school when it's mom's parenting time and make lunch for her and her daughter. I refused and mom had my back. Dad told me I should be doing more to help because this is my family and my unborn half-sibling at risk and my bonus mom. When I didn't give in, dad told me I should be more mature and understand compassion and helping family. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility to take care of your stepmom and her daughter. You are not a parent, and at your age you should still get to be a kid. Forget that whole be mature nonsense. There must be others who can help, or they can hire someone, worst case. Not the asshole. Tell your father that you're not his slave. His wife is not your bonus anything, and you are only there because you are forced to be. If he wants someone to take care of his wife, he can step up his damn self, not try and bully you into doing it for him. That is despicable parenting. Shame on him. Frankly, at 16, you can decide where you go and who you see. If you don't want to go to your dad's, you don't have to. The police won't do anything about it, and if your dad takes your mother to court, the judge will ask you what you want and then act accordingly. Think about it. Schools do not allow random strangers to show up and participate as chaperones. Not the asshole. Actually, it's your dad who should be more mature and understand compassion and helping family by treating you and your relationship with your mother with respect. You are not a pawn to be passed to the woman your dad dates and then marries, and used as her son. He doesn't get to share you with her like you're some object he owns. You are your own person, and your father and stepmom have no claim on your emotions. They can demand you do the chores around the house while you're there, chores being making lunch for people, until you're old enough to leave, which will be soon, but they can't force you to be there when it's your mom's parenting time, and they can't force a feeling of family towards this woman on you. Your dad is expecting you to violate the agreed parenting schedule without your mother's consent. Not the asshole. It doesn't matter what names he calls you. He's out of line and needs to pull his head in. You help out when you are required to be at your dad's, and that is very generous of you, since the woman has violated your boundaries and just been frankly weird. Who takes an 11-year-old boy dress shopping and expects feedback? The 10-year-old is old enough to make a few sandwiches. Even my 5-year-old can make up a plate for herself from stuff in the fridge. Am I the asshole for telling a woman she shouldn't be at a dog party? I was at a dog costume contest in a public park. There were hundreds of people and dogs. In the middle of everything, there was a woman sitting on a bench with her dog. Whenever any dog or person got near, she would yell at them to get away and she would yank her dog back. The dog kept trying to make friends and would stare longingly at the other dogs who were playing with each other, and she would keep aggressively tugging him and scolding people. After a while I said, "You know there's kind of a big dog party going on. If you don't want your dog around people or dogs, perhaps this is not the right place for you." She said, "I don't know what you want from me. I have a right to be here." I wasn't questioning her rights, just her judgment. Am I the asshole? Edit. It was an official park-sponsored party. She would get angry when people and dogs were simply in the vicinity of her dog, not necessarily even interacting. Most of the time she wasn't even paying attention, just scrolling on her phone. Edit 2. A lot of people are saying, the dog might be aggressive, to justify her behavior. If that's the case, why would you bring your dog to a dog party? I can't think of anything but go dog go. At the dog party, the big dog party, did they all have hats? Not the asshole. It is her right to be there, but she is painfully inconsiderate of her poor dog and is making the other dog owners who attended for their pets to have a chance to have fun feel very sorry for her dog. I probably would have addressed her dog instead of her and commiserated with its unfair situation in her hearing. You were more polite. Not the asshole. She could see what was going on and she could have left at ant time if she wanted to. You politely pointing that out does not make you an asshole. Not the asshole. She's ridiculous for planting herself in the middle of a dog meetup with her dog, and then acting nuts about her dog wanting to interact with other dogs, or vice versa. Or, for that matter, other dog people may be wanting to meet her. If that's not your scene, maybe go sit somewhere else in the park. Not the asshole. That dog might have been trying to make friends, but it doesn't mean that dog is friendly with other dogs. I have a dog and she barks aggressively at other dogs. Sometimes she wants to get to know them and sometimes she wants to go after them. So I would not bring my dog out like that, especially without a muzzle. I have a little Chihuahua dog. Not the asshole. You were just pointing out the obvious. I don't understand why people like that woman want to make trouble. Am I the asshole for going off on someone after they refused to move their car blocking my driveway? Basically, I noticed this person sitting in their car in front of my driveway, blocking it. Since they were in their car and the car was turned on, I gave them some time. About 5 minutes go by, and I get a package delivery. I go out there to grab my package. The person in question looks at me, and continues to go back to texting on their phone. At this point I thought for sure they would leave. But they don't. I wait a few more minutes, and finally I go out there and say, "Can you move your car please? You're blocking my driveway." Immediately they come back with an attitude, "Do you need to go somewhere? I ain't bothering you." To which I say, No, but there is plenty of street parking available and it's illegal to block a driveway." She comes back and starts yelling at me, "I ain't bothering you bitch," and swearing at me. At this point I'm pissed she doubled down when she was in the wrong and I was polite at first, and quite honestly was not in the mood for bullshit today. So I came back hard and yelled right back, called her a bitch too and told her I was gonna call the cops. She finally drove away when I faked a call to the cops, called my fiancé instead, and I flipped her off. Realistically, I guess I am mainly feeling guilty about losing my cool. Am I the asshole? I would also take a pic of car and tag for future reference. Previous neighbor had similar situation but they came back and vandalized a car and garage door. But on security camera, haha. Not the asshole. But now you'd better watch your back. Hopefully you have a Ring camera or something because these kinds of people can harbor a vendetta. Not the asshole. Immediately they come back with an attitude, "Do you need to go somewhere?" But FFS, say, yes. Not the asshole. Blocking someone's driveway is both illegal and beyond rude. The driver was 10,000% in the wrong. Not the asshole. Someone is deliberately blocking your driveway, even though plenty of other on-street parking is available, and then they get mad when they are asked to move? Never mind whether I'm going somewhere or not, what are they casing the place? Because I can't think of a single good reason for someone to park deliberately blocking a driveway when there is other legal parking easily available. Absolutely not. If they didn't have any ill intent, and didn't mean to bother anyone, being asked to please move would have gotten the response of "Oh sorry, I didn't realize I just pulled over for a moment," and then the car would have been moved. The response given tells you everything about that individual's intent, and none of it good. Some people just don't like being called on their shit, even if you do it politely and even if they're clearly in the wrong. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for giving a friend a bill after hosting him? Update. I can't believe I'm the asshole here after going above and beyond for a person. We saved him probably $300,400 for this trip and did numerous favors for him. This person didn't offer once to share gas for a long road trip, to share anything with us, or to at least pay for his own expenses. The hotel shouldn't have been assumed as a gift. It's obvious. We also told him about the prices of everything up front. Yet, when he heard something cost $XX and we had to pay, he sat silently. We decided to give him that bill because we reminded him on day 6 to pay for his hotel. He did nothing. We went camping on day 8 and he prepared no food or drinks to share and only ate what we brought. At this point this was very poor manners. We, the hosts, shouldn't have had to ask twice for hotel payments. We also saved him quite a bit with our resident discounts. The bill was less than $50 excluding the hotels. He's on a budget, so we only took him to dirt cheap places to eat. I was going to let that slide to pay that $50 if he was grateful. But not a token of gratitude really upset me, hence the bill. He could have picked up a $8 meal just for once after 7 meals, you know? And the gall to ask us for rides to the airport on his last day when a taxi ride would be just $5. If you're this cheap and ungrateful, I would give you a bill and make you reimburse us. He came here as a sad puppy after his breakup and we were extra nice to him and tried to distract him with amazing nature here. If he came with a partner they'd done mostly on their own. A friend came to visit my country for 10 days and stayed with me and my partner. To show his gratitude, he brought us 4 bottles of wine, around €6 8 each. We drove him for over 1,000 kilometers for a few days to take him on adventurous trips around the country. It's usually expensive to rent a 4x4 and hire a tour guide here. We were essentially his driver, tour guide and host. We prepared a guest room for him with toiletries in his own bathroom, made all bookings and prepared camping gear for him. I thought the wine he brought would even out our service for him, and we picked him up at the airport at 4:30 a.m. to be a good host. However, every time I took out my card to pay for our meals, he sat silently. I was happy to treat him for the first meal or two as a host, but after 6 days, like 7 meals, his silence unsettled me. The same when we had to pay for attractions, gas or groceries. No thank you, no offering, nothing. Just sat silently. I admit I was never upfront with him about finances. I just assume as an adult in his 30s with a professional job in Germany, he would offer to pay for his share, chip in, or take turns to pay for meals. He also never mentioned paying us back for the hotels we paid for him. I consulted him on the prices before booking, so he should know he had to pay. He only brought $200 cash here, and his hotels were already over $200. He didn't seem to plan to pay us back in cash. I was antsy. He also rented a sedan for city sightseeing in between, but the car rental was at the airport. We gave him a ride to the airport at first, and he hinted he wanted more rides from us to take him home after he dropped off the car, and a ride to the airport for his 4:20 a.m. flight. I told him to take a taxi, it's less than €6. On his last day, a few hours before he flew, he still mentioned nothing. We presented him with a bill for his hotel, meals and groceries. He seemed taken aback. We told him we spared the gas in exchange for his wine. Am I the asshole for giving him a bill that listed out all his expenses? As a host I should be more gracious or upfront if I were transactional, but his silence, not even a thank you, upset me and made me give him a bill. This person is not close to me. We met on a trip 8 years ago and hadn't seen each other for 6 years. He was interested in seeing my country. Edit. A lot of you asked why I paid for his hotel up front. We got special discounts as residents, so it had to be under our name, and in another booking we not only got resident discount but also added him to our room, an extra bed, so he could save more. I communicated clearly, told him we got him a discount, and he asked how much the rooms cost. He knew he had to pay. On day 6, we asked him how he would pay us back for the hotels after knowing he didn't have the cash for us. He said transfer. We hoped he would take the initiative to make the transfer before he left, but he stayed silent the whole time, until we asked again on his last day. My partner and I felt it's bad manners to make the host ask you twice about payment, so we ended up being blunt with him about the bill to draw boundaries. As for meals, we often ordered a family plate, few dishes to share, so it's hard to have a separate bill. I didn't invite him to come. He saw my photos on social media and planned to come with his girlfriend, but then they broke up and he came alone. If they were 2 people coming, it's more obvious we would split bills 50-50, and they wouldn't have stayed with us for this long. We felt pity for him after his breakup and wanted to be nice. You kept paying and never brought it up for 10 days, then presented him with a bill. He may have found it odd as well, but perhaps assumed it was a cultural thing, that you wanted to pay and considered it part of hosting. You said you'd bring out your card, then look at him, easy to interpret that as, I've got this, rather than, last chance to jump in and pay instead. Everyone sucks here for not just talking about it. Paying for him at all was completely bizarre to me, but I suppose it's different in different cultures with hospitality. He should have offered to pay for things, or at least said thank you, but you never established any kind of payment or terms with him, then dumped a huge bill on him. YTA, how did you let this go on past day 2? Can't spring a bill on him at the end. So odd. He's a user. That would have been apparent very quickly, so you were foolish to expect him to eventually do the right thing. You should have looked at every dinner bill and told him what his share was. You should have told him he would need to put his credit card down to reserve hotel rooms. Of course, he had access to more than $200 cash. I can't say that you are an he definitely is. But presenting a bill at the last moment of his trip is a poor way of handling resentment. In future, be more straightforward and rude, if necessary. He knew what he was doing and took advantage of your passivity. He absolutely should have been responsible for his own expenses, But you don't get to pay for things and only have to present a bill when you two have never agreed to repayment.